who said it to me, but I think it was my sister Laura. But she said comparison is the thief of happiness, which is just kind of like you'll never be content or happy or pleased with anything you do if you look for the best person in that realm, like to compare yourself to. Like, if you win your high school diving championship, like you shouldn't be watching like Olympic reels and being like, oh, I suck. Like, you just gotta, everybody has steps of growth, and just kind of make sure you're giving yourself time to kind of grow, and you're not putting yourself down because you're not where somebody else is,
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-awareness to kind of like understand that you're like on a journey, and like to kind of live in that moment on the journey without being like stressed about someone else's, journey being ahead of you. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to compare yourself to yourself.
Like what you just said is like, that's like the key is like, it's your journey. It's not, it's things happen different times for different people. Like, I can't remember how many years like Lizzo was working on music, but like she was trying to break through for like, I feel like at least over a decade. And now she's like, on top of the world, and it's just kind of...
Yeah, and by the way, I love the record. And I didn't listen to it till after the Grammys, I'm ashamed to say it, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, what a vocalist. And like the songs are so groovy and cool.
And fun, and also like ironic and bitter, which I just am like, I'm all for that, obviously. It's so important to just not... And also, like when I was in the hip hop scene, like I said, it's probably even something where I isolated myself in a way because I felt like I didn't have the same thing going on musically as like the other artists that were performing. And these are my buddies, and I love their sound and everything. But it was just like, man, is my set going to be weird in between Visibly in Flight and Double Gauge? Like, am I going to be that like lull where people are like, who the fuck is this guy? And you just can't do that to yourself. Like, you just got to keep moving. And another thing is, like, beware of being too influenced by, like, what's going on. Because so many people will be like, yo, you need to do this way. Like, this is how you do this, and blah, blah. And I've seen so many posts on Instagram and YouTube and stuff where they're like, you've been doing this wrong, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, it really is, like, not like that. And, especially with like modern like recording stuff, like I guess just like stay open-minded and try not to be influenced by other music you hear. Don't listen to the radio and think that like this is how I have to do it. And dude, Billie Eilish, bro, like fucking smashed that like mold wide open. Her older brother does like all of her production, and it was like every song it was like you have fucking glockenspiel and like this like synth bass in one song, and then you've got like I love
that record.
That's another artist.
Also.
Like I said,
I was so happy about the Grammys. Dude, I was just okay, this is people are beating their own drums, and like and it's paying off. I don't know if you know about Jacob Collier. He's like an amazing
I've heard
he's kind
the
of
name,
like a Mozart-ish guy. He's like he's beyond in terms of his like.
Wait. Is that the guy that did the Shia LaBeouf song?
No, He did a song with Daniel Caesar recently. That was really cool.
I love Daniel Caesar.
So when you're actually doing the production itself, anything you do to work faster or get inspired quicker?
Not really. And I think that's another thing is that like when I was younger, I think I would just wait for bursts of inspiration to hit me, or wait until I was in this like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like Sour Mix was like a living representation of inspiration, because it was like I was just this sad drunk boy that was, in his mom's basement working on some tracks. But like now, I think now that I've kind of worked on music more, it's become more of like a diligence thing. Like you just kind of got to keep going, and even if you don't feel like it, even if you're having a bad day, just kind of always open that laptop and keep working on your stuff, because you're just gonna get better. Honestly, it's like anything. It's like carpentry. It's like, being a race car driver or whatever. You just kind of got to keep working at your own pace, but also like set a pace for yourself and set goals that like you can achieve. Like Sour Mix, I had so many release dates for it, and, you know, it was like, okay, it's going to drop next. It's going to drop in 2 months. It's going to drop in 3 months. Okay, it's going to drop at the end of the year. Just kidding. Like, August 8th. But, yeah, I mean, you can't rush this stuff either. You can't rush, like, it's, yeah. You just got to take your time, but also, like, put the time into it to make sure that it's right. And, you know, it's like anything. It's like a movie. It's like a video game. Like, if you just try to slap it together, you know, it's going to come off that way. You know, people are going to be like, oh, this is not a well-written movie, or like, you know, oh, this video game is glitching out, like, on the second level. Like, you know, they obviously didn't take the time to go through and make sure everything was where it should be, you know, before they dropped that bitch. Yeah,
it's like a combination of staying, you know, giving yourself like a hard deadline, but also forgiving yourself for missing that deadline. And like, but you're doing the work anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing your best to hit that deadline, but like maybe you'll miss it because, you know, it just takes time.
And you just got to keep fresh, and don't get bummed out by, you know, if your buddy gets signed to a record label, like, it doesn't mean that you suck. Like, it just keep going, and, you know, it's just, you can't let anybody stop your train from chugging along and getting what you need to get done. And I spent a lot of time kind of doubting myself and like sitting on stuff that I felt like in my heart was good, but I didn't want to get, you know, judged or have people not like it, or risk like this thing that I really like not being well received by other people. Like, it shouldn't matter if other people don't like it. Like, honestly, if you feel in your heart that it was like what you needed to make at the time.
Nice. What do you think is important to do or not do as an artist in 2020?
I mean, this has been kind of like a much to my chagrin situation, but you got to get involved in social media, and you got to post regularly, which sucks. I don't like to, you know, I don't like the whole like, look at me, like kind of way that life is right now with the music industry. But unfortunately, you know, if you have a fucking weird picture of a cat, like, people are going to click that link and do everything that you can to make your shit clickable. And don't just release like a post with like your album cover on it, like make some kind of visual where it's like, oh my God, I have to click on this, because it's all about streams nowadays. It's not about the top like 50 artists, because there's like a million artists now and everybody's dropping new shit every day. So you just kind of got to keep relevant by keeping in people's eyes and ears on social media and on like streaming platforms. Keep cranking out music semi-regularly. Like, my thing with Sour Mix was like a year and a half, you know. Yeah. And it was because I produced it, I wrote it, I engineered it, and like that just takes. Also, surround yourself by people that are smarter than you. That is like a huge thing too. Like, a lot of things, like artists have like a pride issue, but, you know, if you ask somebody about their strengths, they might be interested in your strengths, and you can maybe make a dope track together by kind of like I'm Gone.
Yeah.
Streaming on all platforms.
It's totally. Yeah. And I'll drop a link in the show notes, but like, collaboration is so important. And it's something that, yeah, I've failed to do, I think, out of ego. So take that as a lesson.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I same thing here. I mean, and I, like I said, I felt like not like snubbed, but like I didn't fit in or whatever. But it's also like I wasn't reaching out and making connections either. You know, it's a two-way street. You can't just expect people to approach you and be like, "Hey, man, like, I didn't know that you liked my music, but how about we do a song together?" Like, you know, it does. You just gotta take those uncomfortable leaps sometimes and be like, "Hey, you want to do some music together?" And, you know, a lot of times it pans out.
Yeah. I think it's like anything, right? It's like a numbers game, right? Just like, you know, the more music you release, the better it gets, the more, you know, the following can grow, the more chances of it being a good song. Like,
but if you work at it like once a month or once a week or something, like, it's not going to happen as quickly. Like, statistically, you're not going to make as much music as you would if you were looking at it like every day or every couple of days.
Absolutely. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience that you think is important to, so like a if someone getting started as like a singer-songwriter, maybe you just said it, but someone who's getting started as a singer-songwriter producer, what would be like the one thing you would tell them to do?
Definitely don't go into it trying to be somebody else, That's like a tough realization for people, is like people love music, and so they're like, I'm going to be like this type artist, or I'm going to be like the next this person. Like, try to let your heart guide you as far as like what you really like sound-wise, and then try to create your own flavor based on what you love. Like, don't try to be, the next Seal. Don't try to be the next Cher. Don't try to be the next Madonna. Just try to be the next you, because I think that's very important to kind of stick to what drives you. And honestly, if it's not there and it's not authentic, then you might think about picking another career, because I've met so many people that just like are just trying to be like clones. Like, they wear the same clothes, they wear the same, they got grills, like whatever. And I'm just like, you look like Gucci Mane, you're trying to sound like Gucci Mane, but you're not Gucci Mane. And like, you will never be as successful at being Gucci Mane as Gucci Mane has. So just try to be your own person. Try to be Benji Man. There you go.
That's my name.
Try to be, just be yourself, and try not to be too crazy. Also, I did want to mention, because this is not really been announced anywhere, I'm working on a like 2-part album right now. I'm pretty pumped about it. It's called Lyra Bass, Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 1 is nearing completion. Pretty pumped about it. It's got a lot of electro disco and space pop kind of vibes going on. Nice. And I'm pretty stoked about it. It's going to be really cool.
Awesome. So send us, I don't know if you have like any pre-release links or anything, and I'll pop it in the show notes, or just anything you have.
Snippy snap. Okay.
Or even if it's your
I can
Spotify.
Definitely do that. Just don't leak it anywhere. Yeah.
I mean, you're leaking it if you send it to the podcast show notes. But if you want, whatever, I'll just send people to your Spotify. Artist name.
Fun fact: the song "Delusions" I sent you, the single.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's the first single off of Lyra Bass Part 1.
Awesome. So you're in the zone. You're already releasing. So I'll pop that in.
I got Part 2 ready, and I'm already working on the next album after that.
Awesome.
Keep on going.
Anything else the audience should know about, or anywhere else they could find you?
I would check me out on Instagram at Datsun Music. You can find me on Facebook at Datsun Music as well. My album Sour Mix is out on all streaming platforms. Super dope. I think you'll dig it. A little bit of flavors for everybody. I have a couple singles out, also floating around. Check those out, and keep your eyes and ears peeled for that next record when it drops.
Awesome, man. Dude, what a pleasure speaking with you, and thanks for your insights and for your time.
Likewise, man. It was lovely to meet you.
All right, man. Have a great day, and take care.
You too, man.
All right, peace.
Peace out, Brady.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Secret Sonics. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Ian as much as I did. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our other episodes, I would really appreciate it if you would find us on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. That would really help us. And if you could share this episode or any of your favorite episodes with a friend or two, that would really be awesome. In addition to that, you can always find us on social media or on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Secret Sonics. And you can email me at secretsonics@gmail.com if you have any feedback or anything you want to say. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great week and dig in. Bye-bye.